will give a short presentation of gender equality in Horizon 2020 in the European research area. Then how the gender dimension, and I will explain what it is, in research and innovation content is implemented in Horizon 2020, results so far, and then input from some funded project and the next steps. So that should be the way to work. No? This way then. Right. Gender equality in the European research area and Horizon 2020, the policy context, and I will start with the treaty. Because the treaty is essential, not only for the European Commission, the European institutions, but for all the member states, and especially now that we see some step backwards in some member states. So it says clearly in all its activities, the Union shall aim to eliminate inequalities and to promote equality between men and women. And this is really what we use to develop our policy. The overall policy context, directives on gender equality in the labor market in the 1970s, EC strategic engagement for gender equality covering most of the EU policies, a European Institute for Gender Equality, and there are national equality bodies. So I think in France it should be the Haut Conseil de l'égalité. Or another one. They are different. Le défenseur. J'ai eu la leçon hier et je l'ai oublié. Je suis désolée. Gender equality in research and innovation policy. It's a priority in the European research area. And this is important because the European research area is, in fact, the member states. It's really a collaboration between the member states. Then Horizon 2020 is managed by the European Commission, and the Council, composed of all the member states, had agreed conclusions on the 1st of December 2016 to reinforce gender equality both in the European research area, committing the member states, and Horizon 2020. 3 objectives: equality in scientific careers, gender balance in decision-making, and what we call the integration of the gender dimension in research and innovation content. In other words, it's the gender and sex analysis. It's the newest of the objective, and I will now talk about this objective and not the 2 other ones, although the 3 are combined, and it's very important to keep them combined. What we do, the base of the strategy, is what we call institutional changes, meaning changing the practices in the research organizations and the universities to remove the biases. So not putting the burden on women who have to train and be educated and be up to the level, but having a look at where the biases are in the institutions. A simple presentation, a table on the way we work between Horizon 2020 and the member states. From a strategic point of view, we have the framework regulation and EC rules for Horizon 2020, an ERA roadmap, everything is online, for the member states, for the Council, and the Council conclusion. From an implementation point of view, Commission side, work program call for proposals. Member states, nearly all the member states submitted national action plans, including France. And research organizations have what we call gender equality plans. Monitoring reports for the Commission and evaluation. Progress report for the member states. There was one last year, and we are going to prepare one next year. So this is the principle. We work in parallel, and we really engage the member states, not only on gender equality. There are 6 different priorities in the European research area, but gender equality is one of them. For the gender dimension in research content in the ERA, among the 25 national action plans, only 13 mention new actions in this field. And it's mainly training and awareness raising. Not enough, because we talk, and Ineke Klinke mentioned what is done with funding agencies, and what is really important is to do it at the level of funding agencies, call for proposals, but also in teaching, in post. And the feuille de route en France propose des postes, mais c'était le gouvernement précédent, propose des postes dans les universités pour le genre dans différents domaines, ainsi que des appels à propositions pour le genre. Donc la France devra rendre compte de ce qu'elle a proposé dans sa feuille de route l'année prochaine. Now, a couple of data. The SHE figures, 2015, we have innovated in the SHE figures with one new indicator on what we call the gender dimension in scientific publications. It's a keyword, it's a key-based query. A keyword-based query on the in the web of science. And you see the result is pretty low, 6.2% for social sciences, 3.8% for medical sciences, but for medical sciences, only article about humans and dealing with both gender, men and women, have been taken into account, not research on animals. Still low anyway. So the role of the European Commission, monitor and assess the ERA policy on gender equality, funds gender equality plans that are mentioned, research on gender equality, and networking. And I will come back on that. And also funds the gender dimension in research and innovation in the different fields of Horizon 2020. Horizon 2020, it's 80 billion euros. Nearly as many euros in the fund than neurons in our brain, if I see it. So, how the gender dimension is implemented in Horizon 2020. The pioneer work, Gender Innovations Project, has been funded, it is coordinated by Stanford University, funded by the European Commission. The rapporteur was Ineke Klinker, and it has been extended and got then support also from the US. Gender equality is one of many cross-cutting issues in Horizon 2020. That's what we have to deal with. 6 directorate generals, 15 cross-cutting issues, 70 different services. So you can imagine that the negotiation we have to take into account within the system gender equality among climate change, digital agenda, open science, ethics, and so forth, so on and so forth. Widening innovation, social sciences, becoming more and more important. So this is the challenge we have inside, but this is also the challenge that the applicants to calls for proposal have when they have to address not only their own theme, but also take into account these different dimensions. How do we manage that? We start with the work program. In the work program, we explicitly mention the gender dimension in a number of topics. This is a novelty for Horizon 2020. Then in the application form, what Ineke said, there is a specific question on sex and gender, sex and or gender analysis, asking the researchers to reflect about that. It's a question. It's not a formal obligation. It's a question. At the level of the evaluation, it's for the evaluators to assess the project, the proposal as a whole, including the existence or not of a gender dimension. Then we have a grant agreement and a reporting system. Concerning the actors, and that's, I would like to show you the process with the main actors involved. First, the advisory groups and the advisory group gender that Ineke Klinker mentioned. And these advisory groups help the Commission services to draft the work programs and the calls for proposals. So their role is very important, and the role of the advisory group gender has been very important to include gender considerations in the other programs. In health, in climate, in energy, in the different programs. And I will show you some results. So after the advisory group, and then it goes, I don't know why reporting is appearing now, but it goes to work programs topics, then application forms, and at the level of the application forms, there are national contact points to help applicants explain the different issues and the gender equality included. And the Commission provide a lot of information to all national contact points. It's a sort of cascade model, because we cannot go to all meetings, but the role of national contact points are very important, and you have several in France, national contact points. Evaluation, What is very important is the evaluators. We have a huge database, 100,000 experts in this database, from which we select the evaluators. All the services select the evaluators. So the experts include their CV as complete as possible. What we've noticed also with the AG gender is that in this database, not very, very few compared to the 100,000 were indicating their gender expertise. So we try to incentivize them to indicate their gender expertise. Now they are about 9,000, not enough. So really, it's a call, and it's also for you a call as researchers. If you register in this database, and you can do it through the Horizon 2020 participant portal, please indicate your gender expertise, because with 100,000 experts, we search with keywords. If we don't find sex or gender or equality, we don't find you. This is one of the difficulty also we have to. So it's very, very important to identify the right expertise to assess. Of course, we don't stop our selection to just a keyword, and then we look at the CV and we use the guidelines that the advisory group gender has established to really assess the expertise. But this is the first step, and at the first step, we show that we're missing experts. Then grants agreements, reporting, we warn project partners, and they need to report also. We have an indicator on the gender dimension. So we do some follow-up on the gender dimension. Results so far, sum table. I mentioned to you the topics. What we call the topics is one, a call for proposals. So you can see that from the first work program, there are 2 years work program, there were 99 topics with gender equality among 610, and now 110 among 473. There is a slow improvement, but we prefer to progressing slowly than too quickly with wrong or bad results. You see the evolution for the societal challenge 1 for health. It's also widely improved. At the beginning, when we started with the health colleagues and also health researchers, the answer was it goes without saying. Now they prefer to say it after having seen the results so far. For topic level, that's the distribution. So from the left part is the FET is future emerging technology. In green, it's the gendered topics. In blue, topics without gender, which doesn't mean that applicants could consider a gender dimension in it. And on the far right, the science with and for society. In the middle, health. You can see that inclusive societies closer to the right has also a rather good level, but not impressive for social sciences. It's only half. What is rather low is for instance, the food or energy. Energy might be understandable. Food and agriculture is less understandable. It's an issue of culture. This is the comparison between the program 2016-17 and the program just published 2018-20. But in 20, we haven't written yet the topics, so it's only the 2 years, 18 and 19. You see that there is a slight progress in health on the left, and SWAF is still performing very well, Science with and for Society. Again, for inclusive society, it's rather stable, 50%. Climate change challenge is improving. Transport is doing better. Energy low. Food and agriculture still extremely low. What is extremely low as well is the program on secure society, where really it's more technology discussion than human issues, while human issues are very important. In the interim evaluation, and it's online, 90 pages, so I will mention 2 slides on 90 pages. The experts did a thorough analysis of 111 projects selected from topics where gender was explicitly mentioned. So you can, and this project they assessed on the light blue on the left, the bar, light blue is the best ones, with a good integration of the gender dimension. The dark blue, an effort, but they could do much better. And on the left, the purple, nothing. So these are projects submitted to topics where gender was mentioned, and they have been selected because we take always the highest note for all the projects, the highest mark for all the projects. But you can see that even in health, only 2 have been considered as best. So there is, again, here a lot of progress, and I think we were discussing that with Ineke Klinker and also Vera Regitz and others in the health sector, and it shows from discussion this morning. It seems that as long as the sex analysis is fine, it's enough. And the issue is how to figure out what is the gender analysis and integrate it properly in a project. And this also is an issue of collaborating with social sciences. So that was suggested this morning, and really we can improve on that. Input from some project. These are the trigger I will mention. They are gender equality plans project. The videos you've seen during the presentation have been prepared in collaboration with the University Paré Diderot, and it's part of the Trigger EU project. It's mentioned at the end of the videos. There are other gender equality plan projects. Also GenPort for networking. It's interesting resources online with a lot of information. And FRT is more for methodology to analyze the policy. Finally, if I may, even if I'm over, because it's GenderNet and it's coordinated by the CNRS, so I might have to present it. This is the only ERANET collaboration. An ERANET for the European Research Area is a collaboration between program funders and program managers. And there was the first ERANET coordinated by the CNRS, and it has been extended later on to an ERANET co-fund. So in this one, you can find all the information online, and there are some checklists for the sex and gender analysis in project, and examples from a number of funding agencies and universities and other research organizations. Now the ERANET Plus, the co-fund, will soon launch a call with the partners for a call for proposals, and in this call there will be some health themes, but we are in discussions for the content. So now I'll finish with the next steps, last slides. That's what we're planning for next year. It's a call in the Science With and for Society work program. We continue supporting gender equality plans in universities and research organizations. These gender equality plans include the 3 objectives combined. We'll launch a topic on what we call the Academy. Gender Equality Academy is training, networking and training material. And we'll start again an expert group to update the gendered innovations activities started some years ago. So, and to give more, to learn from Horizon 2020 best results and from other parts of the world as well, and provide good examples of projects. And I've finished it. Thank you very much.